Hi, this is Sharmin here. I'm from EducatorSharmin YouTube channel, Facebook page, Instagram and Twitter I have, so you can follow me there. So in this video, I'm going to teach you biology, that is biological molecule chapter 2, that is Cambridge AS and A-level biology. So let's get started. So in this video, I'm going to give you some question answer and explain details about this chapter. So this video will be very large, 60-minute video. So make sure with water, you can pause the video and come back again. Alright, so let's get started. So this chapter is all about how large biological molecules are made from smaller molecules, and also describe the structure and function of carbohydrates, proteins and lipids, and also carry out biochemical tests to identify carbohydrates, lipids and proteins, and explain some key properties of water that make life possible. So let's do together. Number one question, what is macromolecule? What is macromolecule? Well, macromolecule is a large biological molecule. What kind of molecule? That is a large biological molecule, and such as protein, polysaccharides and nucleic acid. And there are three types of macromolecules in living organisms. So number one, polysaccharides, number two, that is proteins, and number three, that is nucleic acid. Alright, here is it, three things you must remember that you can write down. It can help you guys. Make sure pen and paper, you very important topics, you just pause the video and try to write with me. Alright, let's go next one. What is monomer? What is monomer? So a monomer is a relatively simple molecule which is used as a basic building block for the synthesis of a polymer, that is a simple molecule. So many monomers are joined together to make a polymer. Simple molecule join together make a polymers. So usually condensation reaction and common example of molecule that is used as monomers. So monosaccharides, amino acids and nucleotides, for example. Next question number 3, what is polymer? What is polymer? So polymer is a giant molecule. What kind of molecule? That is a giant molecule. So from many similar repeating subunit that is joined together, and make a joined together a chain. And the subunits are much smaller and simpler molecules known as monomers. For example, biological polymers for polysaccharides, and proteins and nucleic acid, for example, for polymers. So poly means many, all right, and mono, that is a single or small or simple. Question number 4, that is what is peptide bond? What is peptide bond? Go through your textbooks, you try to figure out. Peptide bond, that is the one losses of hydroxyl group from its carboxylic acid, that is carboxylic acid group, while the other losses of hydrogen atom from its amine group. So this leaves a carbon atom of the first amino acid free to bond with the nitrogen atom of the second. So the link is called, peptide bond. That is the link together, join together. Link is called peptide bond. Let's go next question. What is carbohydrates? So carbohydrates are organic compounds. What kind of compounds? Organic compounds, and made up of the elements, that is carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. That is carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. So carbohydrates are divided into three main groups. How many main groups? 3 main groups. Number 1, that is monosaccharides, number 2 disaccharides, and number 3, that is polysaccharides. So now I'm going to ask you one question. What's the difference between monosaccharides, disaccharides and polysaccharides? So monosaccharides is a molecule that is consist of single sugar. single sugar, single means one sugar, and unit which are general formula, that is CH2ON. They are commonly used as a source of energy in respiration, source of energy in respiration, that is the breathing process. So this is due to the large number of carbon hydrogen bond, carbon and hydrogen bond. What's the bond? That is carbon and hydrogen bond. So they are important as a building blocks for larger molecule, building blocks of larger molecule, like a human is a larger body structure. So disaccharide is a sugar consisting of two monosaccharides. How many monosaccharides here? Two monosaccharides, and joined together by a glycosidic bond. What's the bond here? Glycosidic bond. You must remember that. The most important polysaccharides are starch, glycogen, and cellulose, all of which are polymers of glucose, and polysaccharides are not sugars. So complex sugars called because each molecule is made up of two molecules of simple sugar and condensed together. So they are called disaccharides and have a more complex structure than simple sugar. So common type of disaccharide, that is sucrose, lactose, and maltose. So have 12 carbon, maltose have 12 carbon atoms. How many carbon atoms? 12 carbon atoms with the general formula, that is C12H22O11. What's that? You must remember that. You must write down, guys. You need to write. What is glycosidic bond? What is glycosidic bond? So for each condensation reaction, what happened? So two hydroxyl groups line up alongside each other, and one combined with hydrogen atom from the other to form a water molecule. So these allow an oxygen breeze to form between two molecules and holding them together and forming a disaccharide. So the breeze is called glycosidic bond. What's that? That is glycosidic bond. In theory, any two hydroxyl groups can line up, and since monosaccharides have many hydroxyl groups, there are a large number of possible disaccharides. The shape of the enzyme that is controlling the reaction determines which hydroxyl groups can come alongside each other, and only a few of the possible of disaccharides are common in nature. So the reverse of condensation is the addition of water. What's that? That is addition of what? Addition of water, and which is known as hydrolysis. And this takes place during the digestion of disaccharides and polysaccharides when they are broken down to monosaccharides. They broken down to from where? Monosaccharides. Simple sugar or monosaccharides. So there are numerous simple sugars. The most common ones, that is a sugar which is 6 carbon atoms. How many carbon atoms here? Here is a 6 carbon atoms, and with the general formula, that is C6H12O6. 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 Yes, so these sugars, glucose, fructose, and galactose. Glucose, fructose, and galactose, that is our monosaccharides. So that is details of the arrangement of the various atoms with the molecules, which give them different chemical and biological properties. So now I'm going to talk about glucose. That is the grape sugar is found. So at least in small quantities in all animals. Fructose is widespread in plants but uncommon in animals. And galactose is a component of milk sugar. Galactose is components of milk sugar or lactose are rather rare in organisms other than mammals. Let's go next question. Now I'm going to talk about alcohols. What is alcohol? So alcohols are series of organic molecules. What kind of molecules? That is organic molecules, and which contains a hydroxyl group and attached to a carbon atom. This is attached with carbon atom. And glycerol is an alcohol which 3 hydroxyl groups. How many groups here? 3 hydroxyl groups. The reaction between an acid and alcohol produces a chemical known as ester. So the chemical link between the acid and the alcohol is known as ester bond or an ester linkage. So hydroxyl, that is carboxylic group on the acid, reacts with the hydroxyl group on the alcohol to form the ester bond. So this is a condensation reaction because water is formed here, formed as a product. So the resulting ester can be converted back to acid and alcohol by the reverse reaction of adding water. The reaction known as what? Hydrolysis. Now I'm going to talk about amino acids. What is amino acids? So amino acids have a central carbon atom which is bonded to a amine group and carboxylic acid group. So it is these two group which give amino acids their name, and third component that is always bonded to the carbon atom is a hydrogen atom. Carbon atom is a hydrogen, that is hydrogen atom. The only way in which amino acids differ from each other, that is remaining and fourth group of atoms bonded to the where? Central carbon. So this is called R group. This is called what? R group. So there are 20 different amino acids. How many amino acids here? 20 different amino acids which occur in proteins of living organism, all the different R group. Let's go next question. What are the functions of carbohydrates? What are the functions? Why need carbohydrate? So this is a source of energy carbohydrate produce, so that is the energy, that is produce energy. And number 2, that is supporting structure, that is cellulose cell walls in plants, and to be converted to other organic compounds, that is amino acids, and another one that is fats. So the function of nucleic acid, that is for example DNA, that is nucleic acid, and synthesize lubricants and mucus which consist of carbohydrates and proteins. The mucus lining the respiratory system, that is the breathing system. So in man traps dust particles and produce the nectar. Another one, that is number 6. Number 6, yes, that is the last one. That is produce nectar in some flower. Nectar. And the sugary nectar attracts feeding insect. Sugary attract what they attract? They attract sugary nectar, and enables cross pollination to occur. That is the another reason for cross pollination. Condensation reaction. Now I'm going to talk about little details about condensation reaction. What is condensation reaction? So smaller units are joined together by condensation reaction. Smaller units are joined together, that is the reaction by condensation. And condensation involves removal of what? Removal of water. And the reverse process adding water is called hydrolysis. Whenever water is adding, that is hydrolysis. And removal water, that is condensation. That is the opposite, condensation and hydrolysis. So is used to break the large molecule, break down and into a smaller molecule. That is produce smaller molecule. Condensation is a chemical reaction. What kind of reaction? Chemical reaction. And whereby two simple molecules are joined together to form a large molecule with the removal of one molecule of what? One molecule of water. So condensation reaction are very important in the formation of large polymers such as starch, proteins, and condensation is the reverse of hydrolysis. What's that? Hydrolysis. What are fats? What are fats? So fats are organic compounds. What kind of compounds? Organic compounds, and made up of elements, that is carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. But unlike carbohydrates, they contain much less oxygen in proportion of hydrogen. What are the function of fats? Why need fats? So the main function, an efficient source and storage of energy. Yes, that's why we need fats. And insulating material, that is especially beneath the skin to prevent excessive heat loss, and in mammals that live in the water. For example, if I say like a whale, so there are greater tendency to lose heat since the hair cover is no longer an efficient insulator in water. So how they will survive there? So whales have a thick layer of bladder beneath the skin, and which helps to retain body heat. Another function, that is the solvent of fat soluble vitamins. What kind of vitamins? Fat soluble vitamins. And many other vital substances including sex hormones and related hormones, and constituent, that is protoplasm. What's that? That is protoplasm, and especially in the protoplasmic membranes. And the means of restrict water loss from the surface of the skin, the oily secretion produced by sebaceous glands in the skin and forms a thin layer over the surface, and this reducing the rate of evaporation of water, and this also reduces the rate of heat loss from the where? Skin, yes. What is any different? Now, is there any difference between fats and oil? Is there any difference between fat and oil? Yes, obviously. If you see the fat and oil, there is a difference between fats are solid and oils, that is liquid at room temperature, or it will be 20 degrees Celsius temperature. Who should be avoid fats in the diet? So definitely fats should be avoided in the diet of people who have developed gallstone in their gallbladder. They have a stone, so they must avoid this fat. They should avoid fats. What is the difference between saturated and unsaturated fats? So the type of fats occurring in animal bodies are called saturated fats, and usually found together with saturated fat is fatty substance called what? That is cholesterol. So cholesterol may get deposited on the inside of arteries, and vegetable fats are unsaturated fat. Vegetable oil, that is vegetable fats, are unsaturated fat. Alright, so they do not cause heart disease, and in fact they should be substituted for animal fats as often as possible. So that is the difference between saturated and unsaturated fat. Let's go next question. Hydrolysis reaction. I already gave an answer. That is the reaction whereby water molecule is added on split up complex molecule into the component units is known as hydrolysis, or you can say hydrolytic reactions. Hydrolysis is breaking up of large molecule into smaller molecules by addition of water. Let's go next one. That is already given. You need to practice, guys. You need to write the answer, pause the video, write down the answer, and continue with me. Yes. Let's go next one. Now I'm going to talk about that is protein, that is hemoglobin. So hemoglobin is the oxygen carrying pigment found in red blood cells and is a globular protein. What kind of protein? That is a globular protein. So I will explain about what is globular protein, what is protein. So we have seen that it is made up of 4 polypeptide chain. How many chain here? 4 polypeptide chain here. And so it has a quaternary structure, and each chain itself as a protein known as globin. So globin is related to myoglobin, so has a very similar tertiary structure. What kind of structure? Tertiary structure. So there are many types of globin. 2 types of are used to make hemoglobin. These are known as alpha globin and beta globin. 2 types, that is alpha globin and beta globin. So hemoglobin molecules is nearly spherical. That is the 4 polypeptide chains packed closely together, and their hydrophobic R groups pointing in towards the center of the molecule, and their hydrophilic ones pointing onwards. So that is the interaction between the hydrophobic R groups inside the molecules are important in that is the holding it in its correct 3-dimensional shape. The outwards, that is pointing hydrophilic R groups on the source of the molecule are important in maintaining its solubility. In the genetic condition known as sickle cell anemia. What's the genetic condition? That is sickle cell anemia. So one amino acid which occur in surface of the beta chain is replaced with a different amino acid. So now I'm going to talk about what is globular protein, what is fibrous protein. So globular protein, that is the molecules curl up into ball shape, curl up with ball shape. And such a myoglobin or hemoglobin so is known as globular protein, that is curl up and ball shape. And hemoglobin is the oxygen carrying pigment found in the red blood cells, where we can find red blood cell, and is a globular protein. So what is fibrous protein? So many other protein molecules do not curl up into a ball but form long strands. These are known as fibrous protein. These are known fibrous protein, yes. For example, keratin forms, that is the hair, nail, alright, that is nail and other outer layers of skin. And so making this structure waterproof. So what is proteins? Proteins are complex organic substance. What kind of substance? That is complex organic substance containing carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen. And proteins are always present in protoplasm, yes. So every protein molecule is built up from simpler compound known as amino acids, the basic units of protein. And collagen is the most common protein found in where? In animals. Collagen is the most common protein and making up 25% of total protein in mammals. So it is an insoluble fibrous protein found in skin, tendons, cartilage, bones, teeth and the walls of the blood vessels. So it is an important structural protein, not only in humans but in almost all animals, and is found in structures ranging from the body walls of sea anemones, that is anemones, to the egg cases of dogfish. So collagen molecules consist of 3 polypeptide chains. how many polypeptide chains? 3 polypeptide chains, that is contains collagen molecule consist, and this each of the shape of helix. That means 3 helical, that is helical polypeptides are wound around each other and forming a 3-stranded rope or a triple helix, and the 3 strands are held together by hydrogen bonds and some covalent bonds. So almost every third amino acids in each polypeptide is glycine. What's that? That is glycine. So the smallest amino acids, that is glycine, is found on the insides of the strands, and its small size allows the 3 strands to lie close together and so form a tight coil. So any other amino acids would be too large. So what's the advantage? So advantage of collagen is that it's a flexible. It's a flexible, but it has a tremendous tensile strength, and meaning it can be withstand large pulling forces without stretching or breaking. And in skin, they may form layer with the fibers running in different layers like cellulose in cell walls. In this way, they resist tensile forces from many directions. Make sure pen and paper, you need to draw the diagram, that is important. You need to draw the structure of monosaccharides, disaccharides and polysaccharides, and what's the condensation reaction and what is the condensation reaction, how it happens. So you need to draw it and label it and color it, make it fun. It can help you guys to understand the topics and remember for your exam. So let's do it together. So guys, I'm going to show you how you can draw the simple sugars, that is monosaccharide, that is glucose. So glucose is C6. So glucose, that is C6H12O6. That means here is a, you need to draw here 6 carbon, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here, and here is a 12 hydrogen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and O6. That means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here is a 6 oxygen. So the most common ones are sugar, that is 6 carbon atom, that is 6 carbon atom, and which general formula, that is C6H12O6, and these sugars, that is glucose, and another one, that is fructose. So this is fructose guys, that is C6H12O6. So fructose, and that is also so fructose is widespread in plants but uncommon in animals. All right. So this is a monosaccharide guys, that is alpha glucose and alpha glucose. So here is a condensation, that is the condensation reaction here. So what is condensation reaction? Did you remember? So condensation is a chemical reaction that is two simple molecule, that is simple molecule are joined together and to form a larger molecule. So this is a larger molecule, that is disaccharide. All right, and here is a also glycosidic bond here. This is a joined together. So this is a maltose. So glucose and glucose, so it's produce maltose, and also water here. All right. So that is the condensation reaction. So these are two key types of biochemical reactions, which that is one is condensation reaction, another one is a hydrolysis. So I'm going to show you hydrolysis now. So here is another reaction, that is hydrolysis. So hydrolysis, that is one kind of reaction, that is water molecule is added. This is a water molecule added here, and that is split by a complex molecule into the compound, that is until in known as hydrolysis, or you can say hydrolytic reaction. So here is another reaction, that is monosaccharides, that is alpha glucose and beta fructose. alpha glucose and beta fructose. That is here is a condensation, that is water is water is removed here, and here is a water is added, that is hydrolysis. That is the another reaction. So here is they produce glycosidic bond here, this one, and this is sucrose, that is disaccharide. All right. So guys, this is a monosaccharide, that is glucose. All right. So now I'm going to show you disaccharide. So guys, this is a disaccharide. Here is this is a sucrose. So how it's produced? It's produced two monosaccharides joined together. That is monosaccharides, that is glucose and fructose is joined together. It's produced sucrose. All right, that is disaccharide. But how about polysaccharide? So this is a polysaccharide, that is cellulose. So whenever many monosaccharides join together and produce long chain, that is polysaccharide. All right. So what is cellulose? So cellulose is the most abundant organic molecules in planet. So due to its process in plant cells walls and its slow rate of breakdown in nature. So here is you see that is a beta glucose, right? So beta glucose, that is here showing that is unit cellulose, and that is attached together and joined together and produce long chain. So now I'm going to talk about what is glycosidic bond. So this is a glycosidic bond, that is hydroxyl groups linked up to form a glycosidic bond. And here is a beta glucose rotated 180 degree. And beta glucose only, that is the relevant of hydroxyl groups are shown here. So that is two beta glucose molecules lined up, to form 1,4. So this is here is a 1, this one is a 1, and here is a 4, 1, 4. So what is glycosidic bond? So each condensation reaction, two hydroxyl, this is a two hydroxyl groups line up. This is a line up alongside each other, and one combines with hydrogen atom. This is a hydrogen atom from the others, that is to form of water molecules, that is produce H2O, that is a water molecule. So these allows an oxygen breeze. This allows oxygen breeze and to form between the two molecules, holding them together and forming a disaccharide. Di means two. All right, di means two. The breeze is called glycosidic bond. So this is the breeze. This breeze is called glycosidic bond. Now I'm going to talk about that is amino acid. So amino acid, that is here is a central carbon atom. This is a central carbon atom. All right, and here is which is bonded to an amine group. This group, that is the varies in different amino acids, that is known as R group or side chain, that is. And here is a amine group, this one, and this is a carboxylic acid group. And these two groups which give amino acids their name, or you can say amino acids their name. So the third component that is always bonded to the carbon atom is a hydrogen atom. So this is an amino acid, guys, and the only way in which amino acids differ each other, that is the remaining fourth group of atom bonding to a central carbon. So this is called R group. So these are, here is another one I'm just showing, that is here is a glycine. All right. So here is a glycine. This is a simple, that is the simplest amino acid, that is glycine, which here is a R group. R group is hydrogen. R group here is a hydrogen. That is R group for, here is a 20 natural occurring amino acids are shown here. Now I'm going to talk about phospholipid. So phospholipid, as you seen, that is a diagrammatic representation of a phospholipid molecule. So what is phospholipid? Phospholipid are a special type of lipid, and each molecule has the unusual property of having one end each the soluble of water. So here is a, that is hydrophilic head. This is a red color, you see, this is a hydrophilic head containing phosphate group, and here is a tail, that is the two hydrophobic. This is a hydrophilic head and this is a hydrophobic fatty acid tails. So why this one? This is because the one of the three fatty acids molecules is replaced by a phosphate group which is polar, and each therefore dissolve in water, and phosphate group is hydrophilic and makes the head of the phospholipid molecule hydrophilic, although the two remaining tails are still hydrophobic. So these allow the molecules to form a membrane around the cell, and where the hydrophilic heads lie in the water is soluble on the outside of the membrane. So I'm going to show you more details. So this is a glycerol, guys. This is glycerol, and here is a condensation reaction here. So the most common lipids, that is triglyceride, and triglyceride, that is are fats and oils. So glyceride is an ester formed by the fatty acid and combining with the alcohol glycerol. So now I'm going to show you how it's do this condensation reaction. And this is a triglyceride, all right, and here is a 3 hydrocarbon tails here, 1 2 1 2 3 hydrocarbon tails, and this is a triglyceride molecules. So this is glycerin, alright, this is a glycerin and condensation, and three water molecule is here is a reduce, and here they produce triglyceride molecule. Here is another reaction, that is amino acids and amino acids, and here is a condensation, that is oxygen is removed, water is removed here. This is amino acid and this is another amino acid, so it's produced peptide. Here is a peptide bond, and this is a dipeptide. So how you do this peptide bonds? So what is peptide bonds? That is the amino acids can join together one losses of hydroxyl. Here is a hydroxyl OH, that is a group from its carboxylic acid group, that is carboxylic acid group, and this is the loss of hydrogen atom from the acid group. And while the other losses of hydrogen atom from the amino group, this leaves the carbon atom. So this is a carbon atom, and here is a peptide bond here. So this is this bond and nitrogen atom. This is a nitrogen atom. So this leaves a carbon atom of the first amino acid free to bond with the nitrogen atom of the second. This link is called peptide bond. This link is called peptide bond. Oxygen and 2 hydrogen atoms removed from the amino acid. Here is the oxygen and 2 hydrogen, that is H2O, that is removed from the amino acid. So it's produced dipeptide. So now I'm going to talk about water. So water is the most important biochemical of all. Without water, life wouldn't exist on this planet, right? So it's important for 2 reasons. Number 1 is a major component of cells. So in our body, that is 70 to 95% of the mass of cells, and your 60% of water, that means our body, it has 60% of water, and it's provide an environment for those organisms that live in water, and 3/4 of planet is covered in water. So water is very important. So another reason, another, that is the main reason, that is hydrogen bonding of water molecules makes the molecules more difficult to separate and affects the physical properties of water. So energy needed to break the hydrogen bond makes it more difficult to convert water from a liquid to a gas than the convert similar components which lack hydrogen bonds and hydrogen sulfide, that is H2S, which is a gas at normal air temperature. So this is a water as a solvent. So water is an excellent solvent. So how? For ions and polar molecules, that is the molecule which an uneven charge and distribution, such as sugars and glycerol, because the water molecules are attracted to the ions. Where? That is ions. So I'm going to show you guys. So this is a positive charge. So whenever this is happens, that is, a chemical dissolves in water, once a chemical is in solution, it's free to move about and react with other chemicals, and most process in living organisms take place in solution. So this is the way, that is the positive charged in ion, that is the sodium, and oxygen faces the ion. So this is a positive and this is a negative. So this is a water molecule, and here is a negative charged negative charged ion, that is a chlorine. So hydrogen faces the ion. Water is another is liquid. What is a liquid at most temperatures on the Earth's surface? So it has a high specific heat capacity, and which makes liquid water relatively resistant to changes in temperature, and water acts as a solvent for ions and polar molecules and causes non-polar molecules to group together. So water has a relatively high latent that is the latent heat of vaporization. That means evaporation has a strong cooling effect, and that way it's a high cohesion and surface tension which affect the way it moves through the narrow tubes, which is a xylem, and allows it to surface on the earth. From some organisms can live, and water acts a reagent inside cells as in hydrolysis reactions, and in photosynthesis, another example for plants. Now I'm going to talk about some primary structure, secondary structure, and tertiary structure. So primary structure, that is a sequence of amino acids in a polypeptide or protein. So if you see the diagram here, that is a primary structure of ribonucleus, and ribonucleus is an enzyme found in pancreatic juice which hydrolyzes, that is RNA, and that is at one end of the amino acid chain. There is an Anis 3 group, while at the other end is the carboxylic group. So these are known as the amino acids. So if you see the diagram here, this is a spiral shape, it's a long chain, right? How about secondary structure? So secondary structure is the structure of protein molecule that is resulting from a regular coil or folding of the chain amino acid. For example, alpha helix. This is a alpha helix, and this is a beta helix. So that is the protein secondary structure, and the structure of alpha helix, that is the R group, are not shown. Here is R group are not shown. And another common arrangement, that is beta plated sheet. So beta plated, that is the both of these sheeted structure is held in the shape and hydrogen bonds between the amino acid. So how about tertiary structure? So what is a tertiary structure? So tertiary structure is the compact structure of a protein molecule and resulting from the three-dimensional coiling of the already folded chain of amino acids. So this is a secondary and tertiary structure of lysozyme, and alpha helix are here is shown, and this is a blue coil, and beta sheets, that is the green arrows, and a random coil at a red ribbons. So that is the black zigzag are the disolified bonds. All right, so this is a structure, that is the secondary and tertiary structure of lysozyme. So this is a hemoglobin, guys. So hemoglobin, that is an oxygen carrying pigment found in red blood cells, and globular protein. So this is if you see the diagram here, each hemoglobin molecules, that is contains 4 polypeptide chain. How many polypeptide chain here? 4 polypeptide chain, and the 2 alpha chains are here is shown here, purple, and another one blue. All right, and the 2 beta chains, that is brown and orange, and each polypeptide chains contain the heme group. And here you see this is an oxygen molecule can bond with the iron atom, and here is a yellow color, you see this is iron, and black color, this is a carbon, and here is a sky color, that is blue, that is nitrogen, and red one, that is oxygen. So this is a heme group, contains a iron atom which can bind and reversibly an oxygen molecule. So there are many types of globin. 2 types are used to make hemoglobin. These are, that is alpha globin and beta globin. So this is a beta globin, and this is alpha. This is a beta chain, and this is a alpha chain, and heme group, this one. So this one, 2 of the hemoglobin chain, that is the alpha chain, are made from the alpha globin, and other 2 chains, that is called beta chain, are made from beta globin. Beta chains made from beta globin. So hemoglobin molecules nearly spherical, that is I already told you. So if you see this diagram, that is a hemoglobin molecule is a spherical, complete hemoglobin molecule is a spherical. This is another diagram, that is the globular protein. So do you know what is globular protein? Did you remember? So globular protein, that is the protein whose molecules curl up into a ball shape, such as myoglobin or hemoglobin. So it's a globular protein. So in living organism, proteins may be found. So if you see the blue color, this is a blue color, that is amino acid hydrophilic R group, and yellow color, that is amino acid with hydrophobic R group. So these are the globular protein molecule, and polypeptide chain coil up with hydrophilic R groups outside and hydrophilic ones inside, and which makes the molecule soluble. So guys, I'm going to show you how you can make some project or some experiment, or you can do something else. It can help you to remember the monosaccharides, disaccharides, and what's the reaction. So you just take an old paper like this and cut it and write here, that is the glucose C6H12O6, and this is a fructose, that is a C6H12O6. all right. So we can easily explain, that is glucose, all right, and glucose. So here is, this is one glucose, that is monosaccharide, and here is another monosaccharide. So 2 monosaccharide, that is condensation reaction. They are 2 simple molecules are joined together to form a larger molecule, that is maltose. All right, so this is a maltose, that is C12H22O11, and here is a water, that is H2O, that is produced. That is a condensation reaction. Another reaction, that is glucose. All right, so this is one molecule, that is monosaccharide, one monosaccharide, and this is another, that is fructose. So it's a join together, it's produce another, that is sucrose and water molecule. Another reaction we can share, that is sucrose and water. All right, so this is hydrolytic reaction. Here is the hydrochloric acid and sucrase. This is an enzyme, if I will add here, so we will then produce it glucose and fructose. That means it's a breakdown. This is the reaction of water molecule is added here. Water molecule is added here and is produced to molecule. This is a disaccharides, but it's breakdown and make it to monosaccharides. That is a hydrolysis reaction. All right. And whenever many monosaccharides join together, it's produced long chain, that is called polysaccharides. So you do some activities like this, it can help you to understand, and also fun, guys. You just color it, write down, and also write down inside and make it fun. That's why you can improve your biology. Chapter 2, biological molecules. So this is a Cambridge International AS and A-level biology. So what's the learning objects here? So learning objects here, number one, that is how large biological molecules, that is a large biological molecules are made from smaller molecules. Describe the structure and function of carbohydrate, lipids and proteins, and carry out biochemical tests to identify carbohydrates, lipids and proteins, and explain some key properties of water that are make life possible. So that is the biological molecule. Here is the main thing is a carbohydrate, lipids and proteins. All right, so let's get started. So here is a number one question, that is, what is macromolecule? What is macromolecule? So macromolecule is a large biological molecule. What kind of molecule? That is a large biological molecule, such as here is a protein, polysaccharide and nucleic acid. Three things you must remember, that is protein, polysaccharide and nucleic acid. And there are three types of macromolecules in living organisms. So it will be plants, it will be animals. Number one, that is polysaccharides. Number two, proteins, and number three, that is nucleic acid. That is the three types of macromolecules in living organism. Number two question, that is, what is monomer? What is monomer? So monomer is a relatively simple molecule which is used as a basic building blocks for the synthesis of polymers, and many monomers are joined together make the polymer. So usually condensation reaction. So I will explain details about what is condensation reaction. So common example of molecule that is used as monomers, that is the monosaccharides, amino acids and nucleotides. Alright, now you know the monomers. So but how about polymers? So poly means many. So a polymer is a giant molecules made from many similar repeating subunits joined together in a chain. The subunits are much smaller and simpler molecules known as monomers. For example, biological polymers are polysaccharides, proteins and nucleic acid. So what is condensation reaction? What is condensation reaction? The smaller units are joined together, that is joined together by condensation reaction. And condensation reaction, that is the involves a removal of what? Removal of water. The reverse process, adding water, is called hydrolysis. Whenever water is added, this is called hydrolysis. So is used to break the large molecule and break down the smaller molecules. So condensation is a chemical reaction whereby two simple molecules are joined together to form a larger molecules with the removal of one molecule of water. So condensation reactions are very important in formation of large polymers such as that is starch, protein, and condensation is the reverse. That is the reverse of hydrolysis. What is carbohydrate? Now you tell me what is carbohydrate. That is the macromolecule, that is the molecule. So carbohydrates are organic compounds made up of elements, that is carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. Here is the three things, that is carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. And hydrogen and oxygen atoms are present in the same ratio, that is 2:1. You must remember that. So why need carbohydrates? So functions of carbohydrates. What's the function of carbohydrates? As a source of energy and to form supporting structure, that is cellulose cell walls in the plant, that is cellulose cell wall, and to be converted to other organic compounds such as amino acids and fat for the function of nucleic acid, that is DNA. All right, let's go next one. So here also number 5, that is synthesize lubricant. So for example, that is the mucus which consists of a carbohydrate and proteins. So mucus lining the respiratory system in man traps dust particles. So to produce the nectar in small, that is the some flowers for sugary nectar, attract feeding insects, enable cross pollination to occur. So that is the main function of carbohydrates. So what are fats? So fats are organic compounds made up of elements, that is carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, but unlike carbohydrates, they contain much less oxygen in proportion to hydrogen. So that is the fats. But what's the function here? So what are the functions of fats? Number 1 function, that is as an efficient source and storage of energy. So it also need its also main function is energy. And number B, that is an insulating material, especially that is the beneath the skin, and prevent excessive heat loss. In mammals that live in the water, there is a greater tendency to lose heat. So since the hair cover is no longer an efficient insulator in water, that is the animals such as whales have a thick layer of bladder beneath the skin which helps to retain body heat. Another function, that is to solvent for fat soluble vitamins and many other vital substances including sex hormones and related hormones. So as a constituent of protoplasm, especially in protoplasmic membranes, so as a means of restrict water loss from the surface of the skin, the oily secretion produce the sebaceous gland. What's the gland name? You must remember that is sebaceous glands in the skin. Where is it? That is skin, from a thin layer over the surface, and this reducing the rate of what? Evaporation of water. So this also reduces the rate of heat loss from the skin. So now you tell me what is the difference between fat and oils. So fats are solid and oils are liquid. That is the main difference. That is 20 degrees Celsius, that is 20 degrees Celsius, or you can say room temperature. So that is oil, a liquid. Oil or liquid at 20 degrees Celsius or room temperature. Who should be avoided fat in the diet? So fat should be avoided in the diet of people who have developed, that is the gallstones in their gallbladder. That means who has a stone, he should avoid this one. What is the difference between saturated and unsaturated fats? What's the difference? So the types of fat occurring in the animal bodies, that is called saturated fat. That is animal bodies. Usually found together with saturated fat is a fatty substance called cholesterol. What's that? That is cholesterol. So cholesterol may get deposited on the inside of arteries. What is it? Inside arteries. And vegetable fats, that is unsaturated fat. What's the unsaturated fat? That is vegetable fats. So they do not cause heart disease. In fact, they should be substituted for animal fats as often as possible. What is hydrolysis reaction? What is hydrolysis reaction? So a reaction thereby a water molecule is added on a split up a complex molecule into its component until it known as hydrolysis, or you can say hydrolytic reaction. Hydrolysis is breakup of large molecules. Breakup of what? Large molecule into smaller molecules by the addition of what? Addition of water. So large molecule to it's into smaller molecules by the addition of water. Now I'm going to talk about proteins, protein structure and function. What is protein? So proteins are very complex organic substance, containing what? Carbon, hydrogen and oxygen and nitrogen here. Four things here, that is carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen. So protein are always present in where? Protoplasm. You must remember that it is always present in protoplasm. So every protein molecule is built up from simpler compounds known as what? That is amino acids. Basic unit of protein. What is the basic unit of protein? That is amino acids. So collagen is the most common protein found in animals and making up 25% of the total protein in mammals. So it is an insoluble fibrous protein found in where? Skin, tendons, cartilage, bone. So guys, I hope that's all for today. Thank you for watching and see you soon with another new video. Keep watching and keep practicing. Practice and practice and practice. That way you can improve your biology. Thank you so much guys, and good luck your biology test.